Hello, everyone. Welcome to the CryptoCannaVerse Show, an international faith-based show where we provide a platform for entrepreneurs within the 5 C's: Christ, cannabis, cybersecurity, cryptocurrency, and certified public accountants. We are on a mission to help entrepreneurs find their missing puzzle pieces. The host today is myself, Crystal Wampler, and Alan Lau. The CryptoCannaVerse Show is booked through the beginning of September, but if you would like to apply to be a guest, please reach out to crystal@canethics.com. If you would like access to our deal flow, please reach out to crystal@canethics.com. Today's show is being streamed live across multiple channels, including Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Our network comprises of business owners, Web3 launchpads, venture capitalists, family offices, high net worth CPAs, attorneys, investors, and angel investors. Before we introduce our amazing guest speaker today, Alan, will you please share our Bible verse for discussion today?
Absolutely. Thank you for the introduction and launch us off. Another week of CryptoCannaVerse Show. Thank you so much for everyone's time on a Friday. Happy Friday to you guys. Today's Bible verse comes from 1 John 4:4. You, dear children, are from God and have overcome them because the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. So as a body of Christ, as we are all children of Christ, it is just, we're just so grateful that we are part of the family and the body of Christ, and we are children, knowing that we are greater than what's out in the world, knowing that our relationship with God, our relationship with the Heavenly Father is far greater than what's on earth. So wanted to share that Bible verse because we are all children of God, and we look upon God for everything, and He provides us with everything that we have. So it's just a blessing that we have. We are children of God.
Thank you, Alan. Appreciate that. The CryptoCannaVerse Show presents speaker Michael D. Sullivan, former IRS agent, teaching instructor, and Fox and ABC News contributor today, Friday, July 7, 2023. Michael D. Sullivan is also the founder of MD Sullivan Tax Group. He had a distinguished career with the Internal Revenue Service for 10 years. As a veteran IRS Revenue Officer agent, he served as an offer and compromise tax specialist and large dollar case specialist. He also collaborated with the U.S. Attorney's Office on undercover operations. Michael received several awards for his work and dedication as an IRS agent. He also teaches courses for attorneys, lawyers, and CPAs for continuing education. He has also been a featured speaker in the credit card industry, student loan, and the debt settlement vertical. He also was the featured speaker at the Latino Tax Fest, which also featured Nina Olsen, Nation Taxpayer Advocate. Welcome, Michael Sullivan.
How you doing, dude? Where's Clayton?
He is actually on another meeting at the moment, but he should be hopping on soon.
Wait a second. You mean he's not here for my introduction, really? Seriously?
I know, we're going to have to give him a hard time. That's for sure.
Hard time.
I tell you, just feel, I feel like I'm a bottom feeder now.
The guy had one job.
Are you kidding me? Oh, for another meeting. Wow. Well, anyway, here I am.
Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us, what was it like being an IRS agent?
Well, it was cool. You know, I left there being a hippie. I left there, I worked there a long time ago, probably before you guys were all born. I worked for IRS, when I left college, I started working at IRS on August 20th, 1973. I know a couple of you haven't been born, so, you know, when I started there, like my eyes were wide open. I didn't have any world experience in my first day. They had me go out on a seizure, something I did not expect. My hair was about down to here. those are kind of my pot smoking days and stuff. And it's like, man, I can't even believe I am doing this. If my friends could see me now. So yeah, I worked there for 10 years. When I worked there at IRS, it was we could do anything we wanted. We could seize anything we wanted. I probably made, I don't know, maybe well over 100 seizures, seized everything in the world, from racehorses to funeral homes to bakeries to muscle cars. I also worked in narcotic trafficking program, where we actually went into the house of drug dealers, and we actually seized their homes and their boats and all that stuff. It was during the time of the cocaine cowboys. So yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed my time, at IRS. I really did. It was fun being in the enforcement arm. And so after 10 years, I figured it'd be time just to go out into private practice and see what that was like, since most of the people that I know, the professionals, were asking me what to do on cases, and not a lot of people had left IRS at the time. So it was really just a really natural fit for me. I really enjoyed my time there. I learned a lot about people. I probably have worked right now over 10,000 cases. When I was at IRS, I probably worked maybe 8,000 cases. Every industry, everything that you can possibly imagine. The learning experience I got from going into different industries and learning about them. So, I was like the jack of all trades, but master absolutely none. So that was kind of me. I really, really enjoyed learning about all these different companies. So it was really cool.
That sounds really cool. So did the IRS agents back in your day carry guns, or do they all carry guns? What is up with that?
Yeah, only CID carries guns. I've been on the TV a lot. I have probably done 12 interviews. I've been on Newsmax, News Nation, Fox, ABC, and I've done a lot of interviews. And let me just explain to you this 87,000 agents. This IRS is a really hot political football. That's what all this conversation is about. So only CID, criminal investigation, carries guns, and they do so very, very few times. They can carry them, but they usually know the target, where they're going out and who they're going to see. So it's not like a surprise with CID. They're the only people that can carry guns. I don't know how many CID agents there are in the country. There's not a lot, but they do criminal work. And like I said, they know who they're going out on. And while we're on the subject of this 87,000 agents, I think what people need to know is that, first of all, it's a 10-year phase in, and half the money is going for the systems. And then the other half will go for about 40,000 or 35,000 agents they target in, or they graft in over a period of 10 years. The systems at IRS right now that they use, there's 60 systems that they use are still on COBOL, and they don't actually talk to each other. There's people that can't even repair some of the IRS systems. It costs them a lot of money to do this. IRS's infrastructure is really, really the part of IRS that's hurting, and it's going to take a lot of money just to get their infrastructure up and hire people. IRS hasn't hired people in years, and I think as of 5 years ago, 25% of the staff has left. So IRS is really left with a kind of a really watered down staff. A lot of the experienced people have already left. So IRS is kind of a skeleton, really, of what it needs to be. And this fund, nobody wants to give IRS money. The Republicans don't, even though the Democrats are truly right on this issue. They do need to hire, and unless they hire, you're just going to have problems. So let me just tell you what IRS does. IRS was sending out all these collection notices prior to COVID. Well, IRS didn't want to hurt the people not making money. So they took the entire collection team and moved them over to giving refunds. IRS has not sent a bill out to anybody for the last year. They just don't do that because they don't have people to answer the phones. Even though the government needs money, they're not sending out bills to people, which is absolutely insanity. But that's right now is what's happening to IRS.
That's insane. So you're telling me that all of these 87,000 agents that are being hired, that the audits coming down the pipeline still, or do they not have the money to do it?
Well, let me be really clear so we understand this, that first of all, the money that's coming in, half the money is for systems and people actually to pick up the phone. Picking up the phone is a real big thing. Just so you know, last tax season, IRS only answered 9% of their calls. And the season before that, they only answered 11% of their calls. They don't tell you they're not answering the phone. They just let you stay there and you'll be on the phone for 2 hours and then the phone hangs up. Have any of you experienced calling IRS and you got this? I'm just curious. I want to make this interactive. I just don't want to talk all the time. Has any of you experienced this?
Very true, because when I was an advisor before, I actually called the IRS department with the client because they wanted to ask some questions about one of their tax documents for reporting purposes. And I would say like we were on the phone for a very long time, to the point it just hung up. So I definitely experienced that. There's not too many people picking up the phones at IRS because they don't have the resources, the bodies to do it.
I want to tell you a little hint that you need to keep quiet. Shh. There's a system called NQ. And if you subscribe to NQ, what they do is NQ, like there's a queue, you actually buy your way into the system and they move you ahead of everybody else. So if you buy the system, you may be 8th waiting and everyone else gets pushed back and back. It's called ENQ, and that's what's happening. So that just pushes, like I said, everyone back further in the queue. So,
but Mike, if you do that, you can't have an in-office competition to see who's on hold longest.
correct. That's exactly.
We've gotten one that was about 3 hours. So that was our.
Exactly. That's great competition. Matter of fact, that's the first time I heard of that. I'm going to actually announce that to my group that you guys have had. That is just spectacular. I can't tell you how cool that is. So, yeah, but anyway, you know, just so you know, it's going to take 10 years for these auditors, in fact, to be phased in. And so they're probably going to hire 3,000 or 4,000 a year. And how long does it take to train them? It's going to take at least a year. So this whole process is going to be forever. And how much effect is it going to have on you or your clients? Honestly, it's going to be negligible. It will happen, maybe 1 or 2. It's not going to make a big difference in really what's going on. As long as they get the infrastructure right and get that correct, boy, that's a home run for me.
Yeah, I was just going to say quickly that in 2022, on the tax practitioner line, I didn't get through for 102 days.
There you go. You need
102 straight days of calling on the hour, every single hour, not even being able to hold. You couldn't even hold.
And the time to call is 7 in the morning or late at night. Remember, IRS is open West Coast late. So if you're on the East Coast, you can call late. But that NQ system, if you're only making 1 or 2 calls, it doesn't pay. But I know that's what the number one complaint. You can't even pick up. They won't. And, you know, they don't even tell you they're not picking up the phone. That's what's the worst thing about it. They just flatly. Has anybody just been on the phone and they hung up at you on the end of the call?
Yes.
There you go. There you go. That's exactly what you think the SOBs would tell you. We ain't picking up the phone today, but they don't. They just make you wait and they make you suffer and they make people like her have a competition. And that ain't right. So,
Mike, I do a lot of student loan consulting, and I've actually called Mohila and previous loan. And I definitely sat on the phone for hours or even just had them hang up on me and they wouldn't even answer it.
Yep. And then when you get someone, they don't know what they're talking about.
Well,
Or
that's
they-
true too.
Yeah.
I've talked to the managers at FedLoan and lectured them about their own program.
Yes, yeah, that's not, and believe it or not, it's not the fault of the people. It's the fault of the system, because they put a call out to hire 5,000 people. Believe it or not, on the first call, only 250 people applied because they weren't paying them enough. So, yeah, they probably need at least 5,000 people more just to pick up the phones nationwide. So, yes. So we can have a big complaining session too. That works for me just as good as what I'm telling you. You're welcome to complain to me. I do not mind. So.
That is crazy. So how much does NQ cost a tax practitioner?
It's about $400 a month, but they charge you per minute. So however long you're on hold, it goes like that. Sometimes it's 500. They have premium minutes where it's like anything else. They figure, wow, if you get premium minutes, you get in the top 5 versus 5 through 10. So there's different scales and different levels of that. And there's been a whole bunch of people, saying, hey, that's not fair. That's not fair. Then IRS can tell if NQ's on the phone, because there's a pause before the practitioner will pick up. Well, I heard that the IRS said when you hear that hold, to hang up the phone to piss them off. So that's been going on too. So there's a whole lot of games within this going on. So I'm telling everyone, I'm just Paul Revere. Remember, I'm wearing red. Paul Revere, don't shoot me.
So is NQ an outside company?
Yes.
It's not.
Yes. There's other companies like NQ. Like I said, it's ENQ. There's other systems like that, but that's the only one that I know that uses that specifically. By the way, if you're there, I have a really large Facebook group of just professionals. I will put up the link. I have around 4,100 tax professionals across the country in my group. So you can kind of join my group if you want to. And people talk about NQ. They talk about their problems, and we have a bunch of former IRS agents, people from district counsel, people from all across the nation help answer your questions.
What is the name of the tax group?
Hell, I gotta find out. It's my group. You think I would know what it is, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm proudly in the group and I'm looking for the name too. I don't know what it's called.
Okay,
But I'm in it.
I'll tell you right now, this is it. So you're just can you read that?
Only IRS representation, helpful tax tips to solve IRS problems, but I don't see the actual name of the tax group.
That's it. You just got to put that in, and then it'll populate to my group.
Okay, great. Because I am part of that group, but I have it on my Facebook and it just pops me in. So thank you for sharing that. And tell us a little bit about, isn't there another group that you have called the Tax Mob? I see you all over Facebook and social media. What is that about?
So about 3 years ago, I just decided to meet with some people in my group, just 4 of us, and like 65 people showed up in Vegas. I was probably because it was in Vegas, but actually what happened is we gave it the name Tax Mob, and that really kind of caught. So every year, first year we met in Vegas. 6 months later, we met in Key West. 6 months later, we met in the Ozarks, and we just went to Nashville at the Gaylord. That was pretty. So what we do is we bring featured speakers in within our group. Like I said, we have people from district counsel, we have special agents. And what we do is we give everyone the latest information. You have to be in that group to go ahead and go. So yeah, every year it's gotten bigger and bigger. Just so you know, this is a Christian group. I just want to tell you this. I have been to seminary. I've been to Knox Theological. My office was around, I don't know, it was about a mile from Knox. It was across from Coral Ridge Presbyterian, which D. James Kennedy was a pastor there. And one day I just decided to go into seminary and start taking these the classes. So I audited seminary. I've been teaching biblical studies for 35 years. Every Tuesday night I have a Zoom class. And I love both the Old and New. I love the Old and New Testament. I really have a thirst. So one day what was happening is my back was hurting, and I thought I was passing a stone. If none of you have ever passed a stone, it seems like you just got a muscle pull in your back. That's all it is. So I go home and I spent the weekend there. But what I found out, it was my T5. I knew nothing about Facebook groups 3 years ago, nothing, zero. So someone sent me this link and said, hey, can you answer this question? So I popped this group, and I seen all these people didn't know what to do. They were answering the questions wrong. I says, I'm going to start my own Facebook group just for kicks and giggles. I knew nothing about this. So I started with my 3 people that work with me. And today I have like 4,100 people in the group. And I always look at things through the light of God's providence. I'm very attuned to God's providence in my life. Every person that I meet, one of 2 instances, it's either going to be a ministry moment or a providence moment, one of the 2. That's how I live my life. That's how I live my day. If I meet someone, what am I supposed to know about this person for the Lord? So that's just how. So that group that we got together because God, for whatever reason, just wanted me to start this. And by doing this, I've been able to meet other people, help other people. And I pray with every single client. If I get a call in every single time any client calls me, whether I know them or not, I always pray with them at the end of that meeting. So I always ask them what their needs are. I always ask them if they like a prayer, and I just pray with them. So I've got the craziest results, but I'm in my life for ministry. It's that simple. I don't have to worry about where my business comes. I just do what I need to do in a day, and God goes ahead and brings me my blessing at the end of the day. So I never get caught up with worry. If any of you get caught up with worry, I just want you to know worry becomes sinful. It really, really does. It's okay to be concerned about it, but when that concern turns to worry, then you really got to ask, what are you really Are you not really trusting God? So what I try to do is I take that theology and that love that I understand what the Spirit reveals to me, and I go ahead and I pass that on to my clients. So I always believe, and you would not believe, at least 3 clients a week will call me and said, I didn't know who to call. I was searching the internet and searching YouTube, and I don't know, for some reason I was supposed to find you. It happens all the time. It happens every week. It is just nothing surprises me anymore how people find me. And you should know something. I just want to tell you all this. All my leads come in from YouTube, all of them. What I decided and what I learned about YouTube, and I'm telling you all of this so you can grow your business, is this. Very, very, very important. Very important that you know this. On YouTube, the difference between them seeing an ad and seeing you on YouTube is this. When people see you on YouTube, when they call you, they've already made a decision that they like you, that they care about you, that they want to retain you. When they see an ad, they have no idea. What YouTube does, it filters out all the garbage, 100% of the garbage. So when a peer says, wow, I seen you on YouTube, I like what you say. So if you are not doing YouTube, you are missing huge opportunities. Okay.
Mike,
Thank you.
I think we need to talk some more. I went to seminary across the other side of the country at Westminster in California. So another Reformed seminary. Definitely you and I are both working in the financial services, maybe a little bit different. I'm a certified financial planner and certified kingdom advisor, working with faith-based businesses, churches, and ministers. So we have a lot to talk about.
I'm not that smart. God just took this person, and whoever calls me really calls me. By the way, I'm a regular listener of John MacArthur. I've probably listened to at least 2,000 hours of his teaching. Every day, I no longer listen to music. I no longer listen to radio. Every time I get in the car, I'm listening to nothing but sermons that either help people or allow me to teach the biblical studies better. Just so you know. So
yeah. Well, he's a little bit further north than I am. I'm in Orange County, California. But yeah, but John's done a lot of good things. I don't always agree with John, but
yeah, I do. So that's good. But no, his end time theology. I don't want to get into that with these group, but yeah, his end time theology. I'm in the book of Daniel now. We better talk about IRS stuff because some of the people we'll talk later about this.
Well, you mentioned student loans. Where does your expertise come in there?
None. They actually brought me into the student loan industry because when people have student loans, they had IRS problems. So it's amazing whenever you speak, people have IRS problems. So I'm usually brought as a one ad where they just bring me along as another speaker. So that's all.
Can I tell you a quick story, Mike?
No. You certainly can.
I used to be the jerk that would send the letters to the IRS letting them know that, hey, we're taking tax refunds. That was literally my job.
Really?
I worked for FedLoan in their default collections department for 6 years as a supervisor.
Yeah, right.
I was garnishing wages and I was taking tax returns. My first supervisor level phone call was with a distraught single parent who had kept the house in a divorce that she couldn't afford, and she was behind on her mortgage, and she was gonna save the mortgage with her tax refund, and I took it.
Wow, you were mean. You were almost like an IRS agent. Poof on you.
Yeah, well, now I'm on the other side of the coin, and I'm working with borrowers to help them with things like income-driven repayment, forgiveness strategies and whatnot. Cool. So I've kind of turned the corner in my private practice.
For you. I got friends down on the bottom. I think Lucy's down there and Neri's down there and Josh down there. They're all actually tax mobsters. I'm so glad to have them and see them here. I just posted that the last hour, so it's a pleasure. I respect all of them very, very dearly. So it's a pleasure that they're here. I don't know if Lucy or Josh or Neri can hear me, but it's great to have them.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Hi.
I just spent the weekend with Lucy. There she is. Lucy, by the way, is a brilliant tax attorney and CPA. She's an adjunct professor at St. Thomas University. So I just want to introduce you to her. She is one of the original tax mobsters. She actually coined the term tax mob, and it's really tough. We try to go ahead and trademark that, but we're having a tough time, Lucy, aren't we?
Yeah, it's getting complicated.
Apparently, government doesn't like the word mob. So anyway, yeah. So, and Josh is here. Josh is from Minnesota. So he's really cool. He's a United States tax court practitioner, and he is a very diligent tax return preparer in Minnesota. So I'm just so glad they're here. Once you're a mobster, you become an in-blood person for tax resolution. So anyway,
awesome.
Any of you have questions, you're certainly allowed to let me know.
Since we got some time, can you share with us a story when you were undercover for the attorney office in operation?
Yeah, well,
no.
Yeah, no. So we had an undercover operation to work at the flea market. And what we did is we went in and we pulled every single license. The Florida swap shop, the Fort Lauderdale swap shop has as many, that it's huge. I can't even tell you how many acres. When you get there, you rent golf carts to get around. So we went ahead and we pulled every license, business license, because That's the one thing they did. You could not have a spot there unless you had a business license. So we went ahead and pulled those business license and did a cross check with tax returns. So let me ask you all a question. How many people filed their tax returns percentage at the flea market? They had over probably at least 1,000, maybe 1,200 vendors there. What percentage of people do you think filed their tax return at one of the largest flea markets in the United States? So
20%.
What's that?
Probably pretty low, because don't they run on cash only at flea markets?
Well, I don't know. I'm just asking. I'm just looking for a number from everybody. Let's start with Crystal. Crystal, give me a number.
20%.
20%. Okay, good guess. Go ahead.
10%.
10%. Alan, Keith. I can't hear you, Keith.
Less than 1%.
Less than 1%. I only see Liberty Tax and the guys at the beach.
5. Josh,
Your head's getting sunburned. How much?
I'd say 30.
30. Okay.
Go in the opposite
Amanda,
direction.
Happy Camper, come on, give it to me, Happy Camper.
I'm gonna say 15.
15. Okay. Anthony. Okay. Lucy. Okay. Josh.
I don't know.
Okay.
No idea.
Josh.
Josh says
5%. Neri. OC.
I'm gonna say 50%.
50%. Okay. And
I'm
OC?
gonna say about 45%, but it depends on the demographics for me.
Okay, 7% of the people actually file tax returns. 7%.
close.
So so what IRS does is they get a request from the national office to go down and run an undercover operation. And that's, we had different ones. I worked the drug trafficking program. So when you get an assessment on someone, Felix Vicnier was somebody that I worked on his case. This was going back now in the 70s. He had made 108 $400,000 cash deposits, 108 $400,000 cash deposits.
Wow.
And he had, I'll just tell you a quick story. He had a luxury yacht, a 65-foot Chris Craft boat, and they brought it in to the Hillsborough Inlet, and they had a shootout with the Coast Guard. And everyone crawled on this 65-foot boat loaded with a lot of, it was really good pot, by the way. I knew my pot back then. And so anyway, everyone was happy and clapping. And then what we found out the next day is while they had the shootout with the drug mules on it, they had brought in a 603-foot vessel in Port Everglades, and they were unloading. They were unloading all night. So they were very smart. And we got a list of his safety deposit boxes. And the next 2 days, we went into every bank and we drilled open every single safety deposit box that he had. He never had a safety deposit box like you and I he would have. He had a safety deposit box that we could put clothes in and shoes and suits, huge safety deposit boxes. And in every single safety deposit box, he had left one gem clip, the ones you put your papers on. He put one and he folded it in half and put it in every single safety deposit box. He knew we were coming, and it was his way to say, ha ha, I beat you. So we collected 23 gem clips the next 2 days as we drilled open every single box. So that was the story of Felix Vicnier and the 603-foot vessel and the drilling over of safety deposit. It was a lot of fun to work, and to tell you, the drug dealers were the nicest people in the world. I eventually met Felix, and I had to give him seizure papers as we seized his house. And he was the nicest guy. He did look at me. He says, Michael, I know you have to do this, but I want to tell you something. You'd need a bulldozer and 800 years to find all the stuff I have. You're never going to find it, so stop looking. So anyway, that was my encounter with Felix. I enjoyed my time in that program, working with the DEA and Metro and everyone down in Miami-Dade. So
That's a great story. Oh,
yeah, why leave that, right? But when you're only making $22,000, how can you stay? So anyway, I'm open for questions. Anybody want to ask anything? You're certainly welcome to.
yeah. I was looking at your website. You worked on a lot of large dollar cases, and your website that you have is 777irs.com. Why did you choose 777irs.com as your website name? I'm just curious.
It's a redirect.
Okay.
My website is longer.
Your
I'll let you all. I'm on what show, and I'll let you guess why I took the 3 7s.
Okay.
So I think you all should know why I took the 3 7s. That's why it's a lot better than 666. That was my option. So I took the 777. I thought that would garner me some more respect. So no, that's why I took it. Good question.
That is a great question. I'm kind of curious, how do people get chosen for audits?
Yeah, so, I'm asked that a lot by people. What most people do not know is IRS has what's called the DIF process. That stands for Discriminatory Index Function System. And what IRS does, I actually have a DIF score in my office. When I left IRS, I probably took a couple papers I shouldn't have. And I have a DIF score actually of a very, very famous person in my office who's still living. Can't tell you, you would all know the person. Very, 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 very famous. So what IRS does that you don't know, they scan all your tax returns. Every tax return that goes in the IRS is scanned, and boom, it pops up with what's called a DIF score. So what IRS does is they have an algorithm that they run, and they actually take every credit, every deduction, all your income. They have all the key numbers matched up with every number on the tax return. And then what IRS in fact does, they go ahead and find out, okay, where you've fallen out of the national standards. So when they accumulate that number, flags pop up. So let's say they're auditing, I'm just making this up, numbers at 90. Well, if your number comes out at 70 or 80, it doesn't pull up. But let's say your number comes out at 110 and your algorithm is well over the national average for that statistic. So what IRS does is they grab that batch of tax returns and they send them down to the local office, usually to revenue agents. Revenue agents then look at all those batches of returns and they pick the ones that they think are audit worthy, and then they send them back to the service center. The service center then determines how many cases each district can get and every office they can get based on the number of hours it takes to close and their worthiness of bearing fruit, where they can get an ROI on them, and they send those cases down to the field to be worked. So that's how the IRS audit system works. They also have a program. It's called it used to be the Taxpayer Compliance Measurement System, or the national program, where they audit 5,000 returns. And they audit everything on your tax return, everything. And when they do this, they do that for national statistics for the following year. If you ever get one of these, if you've got a dependent on there, or they want to see the birth certificate. So IRS has different programs within their audit module, and they set that, like right now they're setting this year for next year after they get all the statistics. But if you've been pulled for an audit, if any of you have seen client audits, they send you what's called a document request. You'll see why that tax return was audited, because the agent is going to be asking for certain documents, and that's why those documents were pulled. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what in fact IRS does. So the IRS audit rate is going down and down and down and down. So hopefully it may go up and up, but you know, and the other problem is you got to have competence within the auditors. And when you get a new auditor, as Lucy and Josh will tell you, whoever does audits, and I think Miss Happy Camper, she'll be able to tell you that the quality of people sometimes when you get someone new, they're just terrible. They're miserable to deal with because they really don't know what they're talking about. So.
Thank you for that explanation. That was the best explanation I've ever had. So appreciate that. So we see all of these ads about ways to settle your tax bill. You know, what is the truth behind these ads?
Yeah, I think there is more garbage in the tax resolution industry than you could ever imagine. It seems like everyone is opening a shop. I know Lucy and Josh and Neri and everybody can tell you, if you go on Facebook, everyone says they can settle your tax debt for pennies on a dollar. It's just everywhere. It's inundated on Facebook ads, and anywhere that you turn around, someone is trying to settle your tax debt. Well, you should know that 90% of the time when you're speaking to these people, you're speaking to salesmen, and they make a 1/3 commission on anything that they collect on the initial offering when they pay. And these people have never worked an offer and compromise. They've never worked a settlement. They probably had about 2 or 3 hours training, but they're salespeople. And here's the problem with that. You either have to be an enrolled agent, an attorney, or a CPA to represent somebody in front of the Internal Revenue Service. When these cases come into a company, the person working the case has really no idea what that financial statement looks like. And I'm going to imagine, I know this is a high number. I believe it in my heart that 90% of the initial financial statements that come in to these companies to say that they're going to go ahead and settle your case don't even have a chance of being accepted, because it takes a year. They're simply going to send a letter at the end of the year saying, sorry, IRS didn't accept your offer. This hurts our industry tremendously, tremendously, tremendously. And there's a bunch of really people that just are absolutely out there. And I want to tell you something. This is a very high price point industry, and offer and compromise. Some of these, like Optima is the worst. I just had a client that called me that Optima billed them $22,000 for going ahead and sending out an offer and compromise. The reality is they never were even eligible for it. So yeah, it's probably one of the, you know, the credit reporting industry, and I'm going to fix your credit report. That was number one, but the offer and compromise debt settlement with the IRS has well taken over that. And it's just terrible. Lucy, are you still there? No, I wish Lucy, yeah, Josh will tell you, Lucy will tell you, it is just absolutely, absolutely miserable. So don't believe the ads that you see. They're pretty much, you really got to speak to a professional about. And any of you can ask me any questions about that offer and settlement. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah. Yeah, I used to teach that program. I just want to tell you one thing. If you have, here's what happens. If you have the money to pay the tax, and it's not liquid, even if it's in your equity in your home or in your pension, okay, IRS isn't going to accept settlement. IRS is looking at your total equity and all your assets. I have people calling me asking to settle their tax debt, and they got $400,000 equity in their home, and they owe $200,000. Well, IRS isn't going to accept that offer, but most of these companies will take those offers because they can collect a healthy fee on those cases. So once again, if you add up your total equity, that's the least amount you can give IRS to settle your taxes. Okay. So.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I would say of every 20 calls I get, for settlements, I can only take one case because they're not eligible for the program. So Josh, have you found the same thing? Josh is my Christian buddy out of Minnesota. This is the only month he's not freezing and wearing ski clothes. Josh, isn't this what you found as well?
Yeah, there's a misnomer about the whole offer and compromise program where people think that, can I set up a settlement with them and I have to explain, what has to take place before you do the settlement, and you have to be current on your taxes and all the things that Michael said. But yeah, he's right, spot on. More people think that they're interested in it, but it's more of an urban myth, or it's grown to be because of what the larger tax companies are able to spend the money and put ads out there on TV and radio and on the internet have led people to believe is actually possible, when in actuality, the IRS is looking at, your assets and your liabilities and your income and expenses. They can dial you in. Whereas a company that's out there is like, we'll help you fill out they're not going to say this, but they're really going to help you fill out the paperwork for a program for which you may not really comply with. I think the ones that are submitted to the IRS, less than 25% are actually accepted.
Yeah, Lucy, what have you found? Lucy's another person. She's been in this business for about 20 years. Lucy, what have you found about most of these companies spinning ads? Look, she's already been nodding her head because she knows exactly what. Go ahead, Lucy.
It's really heartbreaking because the client, the person, taxpayer doesn't know, and they think that they can have their liability forgiven, and they pay a lot of money because all they got on the other side is a salesperson, not someone who understands or is familiar with their case and the likelihood of the offer being accepted. So now they have an offer that has been denied, and they have paid a lot of money to this company, and they're right back where they were before, probably in a worse situation. So it's heartbreaking.
And a little note to you, Crystal, Lucy and Clayton spoke at the tax mob, so she actually knows Clayton. So just so you know. So yeah, Clayton is now out in Colorado, kind of where Crystal is now. So anyway.
Hey,
Yeah.
Josh, you're from Minnesota. What church do you go to? One of my good friends is a senior pastor at one of the churches in Minnesota. So I'm curious, what church do you attend, Josh?
Well, I'm a Roman Catholic.
Oh, Roman Catholic.
Catholic Church.
So when people come to you, Mike, what are they usually coming to you for?
There are so many. So I'll just go over a couple. They're going through an IRS audit. They owe payroll taxes. What people do not know is if you owe over $59,000 to IRS, this is going to shock you. IRS will suspend, remove, and deny your passport. If you owe over $59,000, let me repeat that, the IRS will file a federal tax lien. They'll send out a CP or a letter 508C, and then they'll notify the State Department that your passport has been suspended, and the State Department will deny your passport. So that's another thing they will for payroll taxes, offers and compromise. Actually, the two most common things we're called for is the offer and compromise and unfiled returns. You will not believe how many people haven't filed at least 6 years or more. It's shocking. I know Josh and Lucy get these cases as well, and probably Neri. People, I would imagine one half of my practice is dealing with people who have not filed multiple tax returns. Just amazing. Just absolutely amazing. Lucy, do you get a lot of those as well?
I do. About once a week, somebody comes through the door and says, I don't know when was the last time that I filed, or I haven't filed in 10 years. That is very common. But you know what? I want to say something about that. I want to say something about it. There's a lot of shame and embarrassment that comes with this. And if some clients have come to us afraid of going to jail and thinking that they were going to take their house if they file. I want everybody to know that there are things that we can do and that you are not going to go to jail for not filing your tax returns or for coming clean. That is not likely to happen. So.
Yeah, and that's for me where the ministry comes in. Yeah, Lucy and Josh will tell you the same thing. They always start out. Josh and Lucy they always start out and say, I'm embarrassed to tell you this. Like I'm not their dad, but they are all embarrassed to pick up the phone and to call you and say they have not filed their tax return. So, you just got to come along and say, hey, well, we're here to fix that. I just want to tell you guys a quick rule. Some of you may know that and some of you may not. There's an IRS policy statement. Pardon me, I'm getting over the flu. 5-133, you only have to file the last 6 years, which is absolutely amazing. Josh and Neri and Lucy have people that haven't filed in 15 and 20 years, and they only have to file the last 6 years. And that is really good news because they don't got records. We probably can't get the records, and IRS is smart enough. This is one area IRS was brilliant about, coming with this policy statement just to prepare the last 6 years. So if you know anyone who hasn't filed, go ahead, Crystal.
That revenue,
Go
are
ahead.
you sure? Correct? Isn't that the Fresh Start program too, Michael?
No, it's the IRS policy statement 5-133.
But they also call it the Fresh Start program. They refer to that.
They can.
That is good information. Do we have any other questions and comments? Is there anything else that you would like to share with us, Mike?
Nope, I'm done. I want to have lunch. I appreciate Lucy being here and Josh being here. Listen, this is a great ministry that you guys all have. The last time that I was here, the same people were really on the show. So where is Clayton? Lucy came because she wanted to see Clayton. And where the hell is Clayton? I can't believe Clayton didn't show up. I am just so ticked off.
We missed him. We missed him in Houston.
Yes.
And we missed him at the Tax Mob conference.
Yes. Yes. What's the story, Crystal?
The story is he's on another meeting right now and he apologized sincerely, but that's no excuse. He should definitely be here. I don't know if you all know this, but Michael actually introduced us. He bought it. He sent us our study Bibles. He has been such an amazing person in helping us just find each other and build our relationship. So, Michael, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you coming. I appreciate you, Lucy, and Josh, and everyone on the call. Thank you very much. Michael, where can people reach out to you if they want to find out more information?
I hide. I don't even just call. I'll give you my phone number. Lucy, I just want to tell you, you know how we network within the group? Well, I knew Crystal, and Crystal just happened to ask, do you know anyone who does crypto work? Well, who did we run into? We run into Clayton, right? So I went ahead and I still have the text today of introducing Crystal and Clayton. I says, I have a very nice looking lady you may want to introduce yourself to, and her name is Crystal. But I says, she's not in Texas. He says, well, that's okay. I don't care. Where is she located? I says, well, she is in Colorado. He says, that's okay. Let me meet her. The next time I see the two of them, their picture is on Facebook. Go figure. Go figure. Anyway,
So you need to get invited to the wedding. That's what you're saying.
Thank you, Lucy. Thank
He's
you.
a preacher. He needs to be the one to marry us. How about that?
Yeah.
There you go. Even better.
When are you guys planning to get married?
Probably within the next year.
Wow. Very cool.
Are we all invited?
Yes, you all are invited. Every
There we
last
go.
one of you. That would be fantastic.
I just put my phone number up, so if you need me, just call Crystal. I do wish the two of you, I want to say a little blessing for everyone. Is that okay if I do that? So
Yes,
if you would all
absolutely.
just, if you just bow your heads, if you wouldn't close your eyes and
You can close it. Mike, why don't you close the prayer for us? Why don't you close the prayer?
I'm sorry.
You can close in prayer at the same time for us.
Oh, okay. Oh, so we're done. So I can go have lunch after this. Is that correct? Okay,
Correct.
Marie, I'm gonna have lunch in 3 minutes after the prayer. Okay, we're good to go. I just want to make sure we got everything lined up. So anyway, if you would just close your eyes and just put your hands up in the air. I'm not in your air, just put your palms up. I love to just have our body open up, our hands, just to show gratitude to God with open hands. So Lord, I thank you very much for the people who gather here in Crystal for really going ahead and initiating this ministry. I'm thankful for the people who gather here today to learn about what we need to learn and to know that everything is about God's ministry and about God's providence. It's about why we live and for whom we live. So I thank you, Father, for the air that we breathe. I thank you every day for the food we eat, the people we meet. And God, just remember, we are here, Father, for ministry work. That's what we're on earth for. As it said in John, we are really not of the world. We are really about you. So I'm thankful for the people that gather here. And now to all of you, I pray the number 6 prayer. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord's providence be upon you. May his love and grace always be with you. May he always care for you, show you his love and grace in this world. And I'll also ask this prayer for those of you who struggle with worry, for those of you who struggle with angst, for those of you who are sick, cast your cares on the only one who can make a difference in your life. I pray this in the name of Jesus Christ, in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit, and the people of God say amen.
Amen.
And
Amen.
thank you,
Thank you,
Michael.
everyone.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you. Oh, he was
Everyone have a
out.
wonderful day.
He's ready for his lunch.
He is.
Cracking me
He's
up.
definitely ready for his
He's
lunch.
adorable.
Oh, thank you. He's a very nice guy. So
All right, have
thank
a
you
good
all.
weekend.
Yes, you too, Amanda. Thank you,
Bye.
Brian. Nice seeing you. Thank you, Keith. We'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.